October 1st, 2013. Picture this. A public library in San Francisco. Bathed in the soft, oblivious light of a Tuesday afternoon, a 9-year-old man sits hunched over a laptop, appearing to be just another patron hunting for free Wi-Fi. But this man was no ordinary browser. For nearly 3 years, he had been the phantom ruler of a billion-dollar criminal empire. Online, he was known only as Dread Pirate Roberts, the elusive kingpin of a hidden marketplace called Silk Road. He was blind to the shadows lengthening around him. Right there in the quiet hum of the reading room, suddenly, a stage shout rings out behind him. The man instinctively turns his head, just for a split second, and in that crucial, half-second hesitation, undercover agents lunge. They seize the laptop, locking down the screen before it can encrypt. Before he can hit the kill switch, chaos erupts. FBI agents swarm, pinning the stunned young man to his chair. At last, they had their prize. The alleged mastermind of the dark web's first empire. Caught red-handed. But how did the man behind Silk Road rise to such power, and would this dramatic arrest truly be the end of the market he created? To understand that, we have to go back to a single, radical ideal. Welcome back to the Digital Sleuth. The story begins in 2010. Ross Ulbricht was 26, a physics grad, and a self-taught programmer, deeply rooted in radical libertarian beliefs. He dreamed of a digital world free from the state's rules, a place where free markets could truly flourish, beyond any government's reach. To Ross, laws governing personal choices, like drugs, were simply unjust intrusions. He felt that consenting adults should be able to trade whatever they wanted, so long as no one was directly harmed. This wasn't just idle talk, it became a mission. By late 2010, Ross had built the technological backbone of his black market. The entire operation hinged on 2 core technologies that guaranteed anonymity. First, there was the Tor network, or the Onion router, which ensured anonymity by bouncing communications through a network of relays globally. This software provided the dark web's hidden address. Second, he utilized Bitcoin BTC, the new, decentralized cryptocurrency. It promised payments with no central bank or government oversight. This combination of Tor and Bitcoin promised near total anonymity for both buyer and seller. In January 2011, Silk Road quietly went live. At first, it was entirely empty. So Ross himself, using the now infamous alias, Dread Pirate Roberts, listed the very first product, a batch of homegrown magic mushrooms. The first few sales provided the ultimate proof of concept. The wild idea was actually working. Word spread in whispers through the internet underground. You needed to know exactly where to look, a special onion address on Tor, and you needed Bitcoin ready. Those who made it in discovered a rebellious, digital paradise. The site itself looked deceptively normal, much like an eBay or Amazon marketplace, complete with seller profiles, product reviews, and an escrow payment system. The only difference was that everything for sale was illegal. Ross, acting as DPR, oversaw it all. The alias was a deliberate nod to the rotating identity in the movie The Princess Bride. It was a crucial move, implying that Silk Road was bigger than one man, that if one DPR fell, another could rise. He was actively creating a movement. By mid-2011, thousands of drug deals had been brokered. Users hailed DPR as a visionary, providing a safer, non-violent alternative to street dealing. But success, especially on this massive scale, attracts attention. This is where the story pivots from an internet mystery to a full-blown international cybercrime documentary. That summer, a single news story changed everything. In June 2011, an irresistibly sensational article about the marketplace hit Gawker, a popular news site. The article's shocking title was "The Underground Website Where You Can Buy Any Drug Imaginable." Millions of readers suddenly learned that such a place existed. and traffic to the site exploded overnight. But the scrutiny exploded, too. Among those now reading were powerful figures in Washington, D.C., and law enforcement agencies worldwide. The clock had officially started. Publicly, politicians were outraged, comparing DPR to a modern-day international drug lord. Privately, thousands of new users poured onto the site. Within weeks of the publicity, Silk Road's volume skyrocketed. It went from a modest, illicit market to a multi-million-dollar enterprise. By late 2011, Silk Road had tens of thousands of customers and more than $1 million in weekly sales. This wasn't just a market, it was a digital gold rush. DPR became a philosopher king on the forums, posting long manifestos on freedom and the right to privacy. The mystique grew. Was he a single genius, a group, or just a ghost? DPR encouraged the aura of invincibility, often hinting, "I'm not the first Dread Pirate Roberts, nor will I be the last." Ross Ulbricht struggled to keep his two worlds separate. Offline, he was a soft-spoken, unassuming young man. Online, he managed a pipeline of global commerce, dealing with cocaine from South America and opiates from Asia. Everything was paid for in Bitcoin and mailed in inconspicuous packages. The site was generating colossal wealth. With every sale, Silk Road took a cut of a few percent. These commission fees alone quickly made him a multimillionaire on paper. Now, let's talk financial fraud mechanics. The entire ecosystem was built on Bitcoin's pseudonymous nature. While transactions are public on the blockchain, the identities behind the wallet addresses are not. Silk Road used tools called tumblers and mixers, designed to scramble the flow of coins between multiple wallets. This was done to make tracing the origins and destinations of the Bitcoin profits virtually impossible. It's a common tactic used in sophisticated dark web scams and money laundering operations worldwide. Despite all the layers of security, Ross was human, and he made a critical error. This digital slip now haunts the history of internet mysteries. Early on, back when the site was brand new, DPR posted a few promotional ads on other websites. In one such post, the poster had carelessly left a traceable email address, russelbick@gmail.com. It was a tiny slip, quickly deleted. But it was enough for a determined IRS investigator to dig up in 2013. Suddenly, the mysterious kingpin had a real-world name. Ross Ulbricht was firmly in the crosshairs. By mid-2013, multiple agencies were closing in. This was a massive, multi-front investigation. A covert Homeland Security team had infiltrated an administrator account. The FBI had located the Silk Road server in Iceland and quietly copied its data, pulling back the curtain on the entire operation. The DEA and Secret Service were running their own sting operations out of Baltimore. The investigative net was tightening. But the danger wasn't just external. In early 2013, one of DPR's trusted lieutenants, a moderator named Curtis Green, was arrested. Ross, fueled by paranoia and the sheer weight of his illegal enterprise, became convinced Green would talk. This is the moment the libertarian idealist fully transformed into a true criminal kingpin. In a chilling decision, Ross ordered a hit. He reached out through Silk Road's encrypted chat to someone he believed was a high-ranking drug cartel assassin. He offered $80,000 to have Green killed. This act of violence, crossing every moral line he once professed to hold, became his fatal mistake. The supposed hitman was actually an undercover DEA agent. The agent played along, even staging a fake death scene with Green's cooperation. They sent DPR photos of what looked like a bloody, lifeless body. Believing his order had been carried out, Ross replied with chilling satisfaction and paid the money. This message, this digital receipt of attempted murder, would later be read aloud in a New York courtroom. The Code of Peaceful Commerce was officially replaced by the Code of the Mafia. Law enforcement now had the evidence: chat logs, payment records, and an attempt to commit murder for hire. But arresting a cybercriminal who literally holds the keys to his kingdom is a delicate affair. If Ross sensed the raid, he could encrypt or destroy his laptop in seconds. wiping away evidence and locking investigators out of the billion-dollar network forever. They needed to catch him in the act. Logged in as DPR. With the computer unlocked. That brings us back to that library. October 1st, 2013. The loud, fake argument. A classic distraction technique. Worked perfectly. That split-second turn of the head gave the agents the window they needed. The FBI agent snatched the open laptop. Freeze FBI. The Empire was silent. Law enforcement seized the server, and the site was replaced with a federal notice. The FBI quickly discovered a trove of evidence on the laptop. They found the chat logs, the encryption keys, the Bitcoin wallets holding Silk Road's enormous profits, and a damning diary where Ross had candidly documented his double life. The digital fingerprints were unmistakable. In a New York federal courtroom in 2015, Ross Ulbricht was found guilty on all counts. Despite pleas for leniency, the judge decided to make an example of him. The judge handed down a staggering sentence, 2 life sentences plus 40 years, essentially guaranteeing he would die in prison. The judge stressed the deadly consequences of the drug trafficking and Ross's willingness to use violence. It was a haunting end for the self-proclaimed idealist. However, as we confirmed earlier on the Digital Sleuth, the story didn't end there. In a stunning twist of American politics, Ross Ulbricht was granted a full, unconditional pardon by the 47th President of the United States on January 21, 2025, and released from prison. A complex and controversial, close to the life of the dark web's first kingpin. But while the man was gone, and the original site was dead, the idea was already spreading. The Silk Road was just the beginning. The saga of Silk Road serves as a powerful cybercrime documentary, a chilling lesson in how ideology can spiral into greed and violence, and how quickly digital anonymity can be peeled back. But for you, the viewer, the question is, what lessons can we learn to protect ourselves from the digital threats that have replaced marketplaces like Silk Road? Today's dark web markets aren't just selling drugs, they are selling you. They are built on sophisticated phishing attacks, data breaches, and corporate hacks. Here is the Digital Sleuth's essential advice for fighting back. First, you must stop credential harvesting. MFA is non-negotiable. You must use multi-factor authentication MFA on every important account, including email, bank, and social media. Even if a password is stolen in a breach, the thief can't get in without your second code. This is the single biggest defense against major phishing attacks. Also, periodically check sites like Have I Been Pwned to see if your email address has appeared in a known data breach. If it has, change that password immediately. Second, you need to harden your financial fortifications. Use a password manager to create long, complex, unique passwords for every site. Reusing a password is like giving a burglar a master key to your entire life. Additionally, consider placing a credit freeze with the 3 major credit bureaus. This makes it impossible for identity thieves to open new accounts in your name, which is the core of most financial fraud mechanics. Finally, you need to mine the Tor traffic. The dark web is crawling with malware. If you ever use the Tor browser for legitimate purposes, never download files. Never click links unless you absolutely trust the source. Many initial dark web infections start with a simple drive-by download or a malicious file hidden in a forum post. The story of Ross Ulbricht and Silk Road is a historical footnote, but the spirit of the anonymous, dangerous marketplace lives on, constantly evolving. In the next episode, we'll dive into the terrifying successor to Silk Road, a marketplace built not on drug ideals, but on stolen lives, the notorious Genesis Market. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Until then, stay safe, stay vigilant, and always keep your digital life secure. I'm the Digital Sleuth, and I'll see you in the shadows.